This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard, whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast. We have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show. This episode is brought to you by Mountain Glass Arts. Mountain Glass now has their December sales running until the end of December 2015. You can now get borosilicate AccuGrind joints for 15% off by putting in code AccuGrind, that's ACCUGRIND at checkout. And they also have their soft glass COE 104 sale, jewelry making essentials for 25% off. Just put in the word jewelry at checkout. That's JEWELRY. Just go to mountainglass.com for more information. And this show is also brought to you by Green Flash Glass. And Green Flash Glass is now offering 10% off all sales from now through the end of December 2015. If you are a wholesaler, retail store, get a hold of them through their website at greenflashglass.com. Give them a phone call and place your order. That is greenflashglass.com. And all sales are always free shipping that are $1,000 or more. And now on with the show. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show, episode number 67. This is Jay Michael, your host. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I'm super pumped up to be here to bring you guys insights into the industry of glass, what makes us tick, and how to improve your business. Hope you all are having a wonderful week, and thank you again for tuning in. Today we are going to be talking about future goal setting for 2016, and because we now have about 2 weeks left of the month of December, now we're here towards the end of the year, it's time to start thinking about goals for next year, and I don't mean goals like losing weight or quitting smoking or whatever else we set every year for our New Year's resolutions. I'm talking about actual obtainable goals for our businesses and for ourselves in our personal areas of our life that we can obtain by just taking a couple steps of organization, and we can make it happen very easily. It just takes creating good habits and making it a daily routine, if not a weekly routine, to keep on top of these things. And these areas that we're talking about is, first thing is going to be about why it's important to keep your studio area and space clean and organized. Also why you should keep your books up to date every week, and then also why it's important to have a good socialized life, including your home and also outside of home. It's everything outside of our studios. It's so easy for us to get stuck in our caves, wanting to work, and be creative and have fun and catch up on things. But in all reality, we got to find that balance. And some of the balance out there is actually unobtainable because it doesn't exist. But if we set goals and scheduling for ourselves, we can actually make it happen. And these three areas I find are, for myself, are also areas that I'm going to be focusing on as well, and areas that I've been focusing on this year that have helped me along this process as I balance a podcast and a business and family, working at Disney. I mean, it's just been kind of crazy year. So I figured I'd share this with you guys and work along with you in the process because I'm going to be implementing these areas into my life as well. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and now it's time for our segment here. And the first thing we're going to be getting into is cleaning and organizing your studio. Now, as we all know, we get busy this time of year, and it's easy to let our studios go by the wayside and just continue to work and not clean. As we all know, too, by having a unorganized, filthy studio, it makes it way more difficult to be focused on our glass, especially when you walk in first of the day and you see the fucking mess that you have, and your bench is a mess, your tools are everywhere, none of your glass is organized, your desk is a mess, there's shit on the floor, the whole 9 yards. And all it does is causes chaos in our brains. And it's so important for us to get organized in this area first because it is a reflection of our life outside of the studio. More than likely, if you have a filthy, disgustingly dirty or unorganized studio, your life is potentially the same way. I always remember being in high school, and they always preached to us about how if our locker wasn't organized, it meant our life wasn't organized. And I kind of took that to heart as a mantra, motto, whatever you want to call it, Because it makes total sense. I know when I am unorganized, I tend to have a messy car where I just live out of my car because I'm just going, and then I'll stop for 2 seconds to take the shit out of my car, my trash or cups or clothes or whatever it is that I have in there. So I have a list here of things that I find as what I use myself when I got my studio, the new space up and going. That's really helped me get organized, which has helped with workflow, and also for those that are sharing the space as well, helps them stay organized and what have you. So again, clean and organized studio. This is the first area of importance, as it will be the foundation to your success in every other area of your business and life. As crazy as it sounds, if your studio is unorganized, filthy mess, then the rest of your life is as well. Your workspace is a direct reflection of you and your mindset. How can you seriously have a productive day if your glass is everywhere and paperwork is piling up all over the place? I suggest taking one full day off of the torch and focus on this area first. Having an organized, clean space will allow you to start your days off with a clear picture of what you need to get done for the day, as well as other appointments you have made for that day as well. And here's a short example of an actionable plan of attack that will help get you and then keep you organized, including items that you probably already have to help keep these areas clean. The first thing I would recommend doing is going to your local craft store or dollar store or Walmart or whatever and buy 10 small shoebox plastic containers. And they call them a shoebox size, I guess, because you can fit a pair of shoes in there. They're roughly $1 a piece, so they cost you about $10 to get this. The first thing you want to do with 2 of those bins is designate 2 of your bins for your paperwork. Get a piece of paper, a sticky note, a label, whatever you can, and designate one of them for your receipts for your business purchases and the other box for your orders and invoices. This will help you keep track of your daily and weekly profit and loss statements, and each Friday, or whichever day is the last day of the week for you and your business, and put these numbers into your bookkeeping. These 2 bins should be emptied at the end of each week. Now, use the other 8 for inventory for small items and label them each container accordingly. I'm going to have a link on this particular on the show notes to my Dropbox. I'm creating a folder for you guys to go to. I'm trying to figure out how to get PDFs attached to my newsletters. I'm having trouble. So what I'm going to do instead is just have a link to a Dropbox folder for everybody that will be open for you, for the public to go to download these forms. One of them is just basically going to be a small inventory sheet for you to tape onto your boxes. And that way, when you have all your inventory throughout the week that you create, I'm sure a lot of you that do your production create the same stuff. So there's no reason not to have them put away. Make sure you have them bubble wrapped as well. And then on a piece of paper on top of that box that's closed, you can then write on that sheet what your inventory is. So if you have, say, a box of like 15 hand pipes that are all 3-inch wrap and rake spoons, for instance, you can just write there on top of the paper what that exactly is, including the price for each one. And also by having them put away, they're also out of the eye of the public, and also they are away and kept clean and safe. So just think about that. So you take 2 boxes, use them for your paperwork folders or for your receipts, invoices, what have you, and then the other 8 you're going to be using for your inventory and stock that you have of final made pieces. And then you can also get some bigger boxes. They have some that are larger, obviously, for bigger pieces if you want to keep rigs or bubblers or stockpile your work. If you're making chandeliers, you can keep those organized and put away. If you're making beads and pendants, your stock for your beads and pendants and stuff can be put away individually and organized. This will really, again, keep everything up to date for you so you know what your inventory is, as well as safe and tight and put away. So it's pretty huge and important. The next thing I recommend is going to your local Home Depots or Lowe's or whatever your home improvement stores are and buying 6 to 10 2-foot sections of 1.25 PVC. So that's 6 to 10 2-foot sections of 1.25 PVC pipes. They're approximately, I looked them up online, they're about a 3.25 a piece. If you cut these guys in half, say you buy 6 of them and you cut them in half, obviously you have 12. And what you'll do is you will use these for stocking your color rods. There's different ways of building boxes and shelving systems for putting these 2 PVC pieces in. So you can kind of figure that kind of thing out. I'm going to post some pictures on the newsletter and also the show notes with some examples of what people out there have done in the industry. But this will really allow you to organize all your color rods and keep it right there where you can see it. As well as, you can also get a couple extra containers for this shelf unit or whatever you're going to use to store your PVC tubes on for keeping all your frits and powders in as well. And once again, keep track of everything. When you get your color in the mail, generally, like when Mountain Glass sends it out, they have a sticker that's attached or wrapped in with the plastic that they ship the color in, and it has a label that you can just peel away and stick it onto your PVC tubing, so then you'll know what each thing is. If you don't put it on the tubing, if you have like a shelving system that's got different slices, shelves that you have, say like you have 4 per shelf kind of thing set up. On the front of the shelf, you can put the sticker on that too. Just different ways, whatever works best for you. The idea again is to get organized, and however you can go about doing it. So get some PVC, cut them bad boys in half. If you have a shelf system or already you need to make one for yourself. And this will keep everything organized with all your color as well. It's huge, and it's going to be nice. It looks pretty when you have this whole fun shelf full of color rods. It also makes it look very professional and clean. The third thing you should do to keep your studio organized is to create a shipping and receiving area. Again, at your major big box home goods stores, you can find 4-piece shelving units, roughly around 5 to 6 feet long, for anywhere from $65 to $75, and they make great organizing space for shipping and receiving. These units generally come with 4 shelves, and there's 4 to 6 foot long, depending on the model, and you can use these for your desk space as well. So what I did is I took the unit and I basically split it in half. So 2 shelves I'm using for all of my shipping and receiving, and then the other 2 shelves I'm using for my desk itself. And the overall height of the desk is roughly around 3.5 foot tall, so I can put a chair up in front of it and just sit there and be completely comfortable. And this makes for great organizing space for everything that you need to do. It makes a huge difference. You can keep your bubble wrap, packing, if I can say it, packing peanuts, all your shipping boxes, tape, all of that stuff. I would also suggest going to like the dollar store, and they have little like units you can get, little containers, storage kind of organizing things for putting forks and spoons and knives and different things like that on top of your countertops. And those work great for holding things like labels and tape and stamps, whatever. It's a really good little tool, and it's cheap, again, for like $1. One other thing I would suggest that you use for this area that you should purchase is a air printer if you don't already have one. These air printers run off of Wi-Fi, so if you have Wi-Fi in your studio space, it's the only way these really are going to work. But if you do have Wi-Fi in your area, I definitely recommend getting one of these guys. Again, they're anywhere from around $65, which is what I paid for mine, and I got a Hewlett-Packard, and it's awesome. I use it for everything, printing my shipping labels, the whole 9 yards, which you can do directly off of your phone, which is super convenient. That way you're not waiting in line at the post office. You can just print all your shit in your studio, put all your labels on your packages, and then just head to the post office and drop them off in the post office box. It's a big deal. It's going to save you a lot of time as well. You can also schedule pickups from the post office to come to you to pick it up if your area has that. I thought my area had pickup, but we don't now after several times I've had and been waiting for things to get picked up. You also are going to want to get a digital scale too. Typically with the post office and their priority mailing, you can have your just all in one box kind of deal. They don't ask what the weight is, but it's not always the cheapest way to ship. If you're using bubble envelopes and that kind of stuff, I definitely recommend getting a scale. And again, you can create an inventory sheet too, kind of a little side note here for, like, say, you're shipping pendants, and usually pendants that you make are all going to weigh roughly the same, give or take an ounce or two. Or I shouldn't even say an ounce, I should say a gram or two. So if you say, like you ship a pendant in a bubble envelope, and it costs you $3 to ship it, and it weighs 8 ounces or whatever the weight's going to be, you would know that every single time that you ship that particular item and or something very similar to it, it's going to weigh the same amount of weight, and it's going to cost you the same amount of money. So you can just take that same information and just plug it into the post office site when you do ship your stuff out. Now, again, if you keep a log of that kind of stuff, it's really going to help you, once again, with this stuff, keep organized with it. But again, get a scale. Make sure you get a scale that you can weigh in ounces and pounds and grams. Just because of different weights that you may have, obviously, for small things and large things. If you can't afford to get a scale, like a smaller scale, that's going to be set up for all 3 measurements, the grams, ounces, and pounds, I recommend then getting a small scale for just doing grams and ounces, and then go get like a weight scale that you'd stand on for yourself. But get a digital one that you would then put your boxes on it for bigger orders that you're shipping out. It's going to make a big difference. But once again, by doing all this organization with the shipping and receiving area, it's going to make your shipping your orders out much more systemized and get everything out quicker to your customers, which is awesome. Something that I'm still working on, even having an assistant now. It's still kind of one of those things where I'm finding that my shipping isn't always up to par, exactly like I want it to be. So again, an area I'm still working on myself. The fourth thing that you want to do after that you've created your shipping and receiving area is to create an area or space in your studio where you're going to be keeping your rods and tubes. And make sure that, again, you can, if you need to go buy another shelving system, if you need to go spend $150 on a set on 2 shelving units, that investment's going to save you money in the long run. Once again, by staying organized and together, it's going to make your production that much more, where you'll be able to be more focused on your work. So, think about a space that you can put your glass rods at and tubing. Generally, I put everything horizontal. It makes it a lot easier to pull out of the box when you're doing your thing and accessible to whatever that you need. Just kind of one of those fun things, just, again, you need to get things, organized, and that makes a huge deal. Also, I'd recommend printing out the inventory slips that I'm also going to have in the Dropbox for you guys, and just put those on your boxes and like I had mentioned in a couple episodes back about getting ready for tax season, and just keep track of your inventory on there. And that way you'll know exactly how much glass you have left without having to go through and count your rods and tubes. And then you can prepare for future orders that you may need for stock and supply. And then the last thing I suggest that you guys get for your studio is a small shop vac if you don't have one yet. I've looked online; they're around $40 for a nice small one. Basically, what you'll be able to do is keep your studio nice and clean, your bench top and your floors nice and vacuumed up as well. And which I recommend doing this every day when you're done with the studio, your shift for the day, because then when you go back in the next morning and start over again, it's all going to be there for you, clean and look pretty. And again, it helps to walk in there and see a clean space. It makes you happy to be there and not worried about having to clean and stop and deal with your stuff. But I do recommend that if you do get the shop vac, or if you have one and you are using it, that you're using a small particle or particulate filter for it. It's going to make a big difference in keeping the dust down in the air, because as we all know, the glass and dust particles can be small and can slip through the filters and then blow out the other side of the vacuum, and next thing you know, they're in the air. On top of that, I also recommend going and getting a nice dust mask or some kind of filtration for your face. Basically, the small dust particles they have out there, or the dust masks for small particulates, are available, and they're a little bit more affordable than having to get like a respirator or something like that. If you do sandblasting and what have you, you probably already have a respirator, so definitely use that. But it just makes it one more thing that you can do to be safe and precautionary measures in a sense while you're keeping your studio clean and cleaning itself. It's a big deal. Also, depending on your surface area for your bench, once you get done vacuuming, I would recommend then spraying some Windex of some sort and then wiping it down, so then it's really clean even more so. And it also keeps the dust down by moistening it a little bit, But do that after you vacuum. And again, while you're still even wiping the tabletops off, wear your mask. It's going to make a big difference and help keep that shit out of your lungs. So kind of a recap for the first thing with getting a clean and organized studio. You want to get 10 small shoeboxes for a designated area for all your paperwork, and also stock and storage for your glass that has been made already. You want to get 6 to 10 2-foot sections of 1.25" diameter PVC to make a rod rack for all your color rods. You want to create a shipping and receiving area with a shelving unit system. Don't forget to get a printer if you can't afford one, a Wi-Fi printer or air printer they're called. Also, make sure you get a digital scale, whether it's one that can measure grams, ounces, and pounds, or just get a small one that measures grams and ounces, and then buy a regular weight scale that's digital for your pounds. And then also don't forget to get a shop vac so that we can keep that area actually nice and clean. So once you're organized, you can keep it clean. One other thing I recommend, too, that I do is I have a larger size Tupperware container that I keep all of my little scraps of shit in from the end of the day. I'll just toss everything in there, and then once a month, I'll go through it, or I'll have my assistant go through it and separate everything out. Typically, if you have an assistant or an apprentice of some sort, that's a beneficial way for them to go through it, because then they learn the material sizes, they learn how to separate glass, and then you can also have them just recycle that stuff by putting everything back together. Take a bunch of 6 mil scrap of a rod and just put them all together and make them new, kind of idea. So just kind of a quick recap, just go through those things, and if you can get that part of that area done and then maintain it, it's going to make a big difference in your studio. Not only is it going to make it look clean and healthy for you when you walk in there, but for anybody else that comes and visits, they're going to come in there and see this really nice, clean, professional-looking studio. Even if your walls look like shit and the floor is messed up, what have you, if it's picked up and clean and organized, it's going to make a huge difference for everything that you're doing. Big, big time. So, think about that. So, again, number 1 is clean and organized studio. And then our second topic that we're going to be covering is talking about keeping our books up to date. And I mean books by you're updating your bookkeeping, what have you. Now that you've have an organized, professional-looking studio, you'll now be able to keep your books up to date. Having an up-to-date book will give you a clear sight of how your business is doing financially and allow for easy budgeting this year and allow for projections. When paying quarterly taxes, it's imperative that you have a clear vision of your estimated revenue. Each quarter, you will need to make a small payment based on the estimated taxes owed that time period. And by having an up-to-date book, your numbers will speak for themselves and help you plan your quarterly payments. By using the small bin methods of capturing and counting your receipts, it'll make it easier for you to organize them and then enter those expenses and income weekly. If you're selling daily, then keep a daily ledger. Otherwise, if your numbers are weekly, and don't forget to weigh your waste and write down that estimated cost. And I'm also going to have that paperwork and that link for you guys. It'll make your PM and make sure you put that in your statement. Stay on top of this area, and you'll always know what is coming and going. And generally, after the first 90 days of doing this, you'll be able to set a budget, see which customers order what, and when and on what date. And when you have this, you can then take that info and use it to your advantage, and you can know when to call your shops and do follow-ups with them on their inventory of theirs that you have, or of inventory of yours that they have. And then you can find what they truly need instead of just taking a shot in the dark when you call them and just show up with an order that they may or may not need stuff. Having an organized book will also make it easier for your accountant to finalize your quarterly and annual tax bill, which in the long run saves you money. The more work that the accountant does, the more it will cost you for their services. So stay proactive and up to date. And there's also varieties of companies out there that offer the services for online cloud accounting. There's one that I highly recommend that I use myself, which is called FreshBooks, and there's going to be a link in the show notes for the FreshBooks. I've been using FreshBooks for over 3 years now, and it's a simple, professional-looking platform that allows you to print invoices, track your time, import your bank info, and keep track of all your expenses. And there's a ton of other brands out there like Quicken, QuickBooks, and GoDaddy Accounting, etc. Each brand has its pros and cons and fees, but I recommend FreshBooks because it's what I use, and I'm also familiar with it. So go check that out. So once again, number 2 is just keeping your books up to date. By keeping your books up to date, you're not going to be sitting around worrying about what money's in and out, what your tax bill is going to be, all that stuff you can predict ahead of time. And again, your tax bills are just estimates until your final tax bill of the year, where you pay the difference of what you actually owe, or then you get a refund of what you overpaid on your estimates. So just something to think about. So once again, number 2 is to keep up with your bookkeeping. And then the third thing I want to cover is talking about our outside life of the studio. Now, thinking about the relationships we have, whether you're married, you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or kids, friends, what have you, it's very important that you keep in contact with the ones that you care about the most and that are your friends and family, because they're going to be your support groups. And if you fall by the wayside and don't stay in touch with them and, act like you don't give a shit, at some point in time, they may or may not give a shit as well. And I say this because it's so easy to get stuck in our studios and get focused on our glass and what have you, where if you set a schedule for yourself, and I know setting a schedule as an artist isn't always the easiest thing because we could be there on the time we scheduled and really not be feeling it, not feeling the creativity, not feeling the momentum or even the gumption or, whatever you want to call it, to be there at all. To be a glass artist, it does take a certain mindset, mentality to be there. Which is why a lot of us like enjoying our safety breaks, because it kind of puts us in that funky, groovy, creative, artistic mood in a sense, no matter what it is that you're creating. But to think about that, if you're there all the damn time and you don't have any kind of social life, it's really going to really cause your mental space to kind of go to shit. And I say that because I've experienced it myself after 17 years being behind the torch. The first probably quarter, if not longer, of my glass career, I was putting in 60 to 70 hours a week in my studio. And at the time of my life, I was avoiding certain things out there, my relationship I was in with my wife at the time, and other situations going on. But I really found that by being away from everybody, I started to get social anxiety disorder, which I didn't really know what that was. And I'd go out in public with friends and go to a concert, and I would have panic attacks, and I didn't even know what that was, really. I knew what they were because my mom had them, but actually experiencing it myself was like a whole different situation for me. And it's very important to have good mental health when you are in the studio and also when you're outside the studio, And you got to go out and get some fresh air, have fun, do your thing, find what you love, find your passions, and schedule those into your life. If you can take what time you sleep, or just say you have an 8-hour night of sleep, so you go to bed at 10 and you get up at 6, or you go to bed at midnight and you get up at 8, whatever it may be. Schedule your sleep first, and then schedule the rest of your time around that. It's a really kind of easy trick to do when it comes to scheduling your time. I'm terrible with time management, and it's something that I'm still learning how to do in a manually fashion. There's actually an audiobook I'm reading right now about getting organized that I'm going to talk about here soon, and I'll stick that in the show notes as well for you guys. It's something that my psychologist gave me to read and listen to audiobook-wise, and it's a really simple concepts of how to get organized and time management and stuff like that. And the time management, actually, he talks about is one of those things, again, that is kind of a fake bullshit kind of thing. We don't really manage our time in a sense. It's. I'll get more into it as I go into that book with you guys. But really schedule your time. So you get up at 8. You should schedule your morning routine. Morning routines are huge. There's a book out there called The Miracle Morning that you guys should check out. It's a huge book. The guy that wrote the book's an incredible man. What he's been through in his life, and he talks about the miracle morning idea. And the miracle morning, really, the whole idea is the fact that we wake up in the morning. And that fact that we do wake up every day is a miracle. So count your blessings, every day you wake up. But again, schedule your time in the morning. Pick out a routine. Think of 5 things you can do every day, whether it's meditation, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, making your bed, whatever. Checking your schedule, your bank accounts, the whole 9 yards. And then once you're set with that, then you can plan the rest of your day. Now, if you get to be up and get your kids to school or whatever, you have a job outside of your glass, then you got to schedule that into your life as well. So again, if you have to leave your house at like 7 o'clock to get your kids to school on time, or like myself today, I was on the road at 5:30, or up at 5:30 on the road by 6 to get kids to school. I had to schedule my rest of my day based on time, and I don't get a lot done on these days first thing in the morning, but I get things done when I get home after dropping the kids off to school. So again, you have to schedule your time. Schedule dates with your wives or boyfriends or girlfriends or husbands. My wife and I have date night every Friday night. That's our thing. Lately, the past 2 weeks, I didn't because I was at Disney, and generally I don't schedule myself on the days that her and I have date night because it's a priority to me to make sure her and I have at least one day a week where it's just her and I going out and doing something. Even if you have kids like we do, you can find someone to help cover them. Fortunately, I have an older daughter who's 16, and she's basically built-in babysitter. But we also have friends and family that are willing to help when needed. But again, that's important to schedule that time with your loved ones to go out on a date and have some personal private time together. But you also got to schedule time to do things that you love as an individual, whether, again, you like playing Frisbee golf or fishing, or you like reading, or you like going to the movies. I mean, all that stuff. There's no reason that you cannot schedule that into your life, even if it's one thing a day a week. Like every Monday you go disc golfing. Every Tuesday you go fishing. Every Wednesday you do this, you do that. And the days that say you want to go fishing on Tuesday, but it's raining, well then take whatever you do on, say, Thursday that may be an indoor activity and do that on Tuesday instead, and then hopefully on Thursday it won't be raining and you can go fishing. But again, if you have it scheduled out and you have it laid out in front of you, you can see it ahead of time, and then you can plan and schedule things out accordingly. It makes a big difference. And again, these are areas of my life that I'm still working on because, again, time management and that kind of stuff has always been an issue for me. And as I work through this, my own issues that I'm dealing with, I can then share it with you guys. And then as you all are working through your issues, you can share it with me. And then together we can all work together and we can all make this happen and become as successful as we possibly can be, which is fucking amazing. And there's no reason that we shouldn't be doing it. And also, I like when you guys send me emails and contact me. And I definitely want more interaction with everybody. So please definitely feel free to contact me, in which I'll give you my email address at the end of the show. But again, family is important. If you have parents, you need to make sure you call them at least once a week and say hey to them and you love them. Because again, it's so easy in the creative space just to get lost. Next thing you know, you get in there at 9 o'clock in the morning and you look at your clock and it's 10 o'clock at night. And you're like, what the hell happened to this day? And nothing's been made. Or you have a whole shit ton of things made, but you haven't talked to anybody all day, or you haven't made a phone call to your husband, or, whatever. There's all kind of shit that goes on. So just some things to think about. It's really important to organize these 3 specific areas of your life. And by organizing these 3 areas of your life, then everything else that you bring into your life from that point in time will be huge. And it's going to take time to organize it. Again, this is not anything that you're just going to wake up one day and it's going to be something that's done. You got to do it, you need to implement it, and you need to do it every single day. You have to walk through these steps and these processes and make sure that you're following through with it. If you have orders you got to make a list of things you got to make that day. I mean, it's just, all these little areas are huge. And as we go on through the rest of the year, next Wednesday, I'm going to go through the same process again and break this down and really give you guys some insights, even more so specifically on each individual thing. So next week, we'll get into more of the cleaning and organizing your studio and other things you can do to organize and clean your studio. More of the organizational side than anything. But again, it's all about, keeping it organized. And also, part of this process of the show is to help y'all become more successful monetarily, as well as become more successful spiritually and emotionally in your lives. Our life isn't all about money, but we all know that if our bills are paid when we're behind the torch, we're not worrying about how much this item is going to sell for when you're done making it. You're more concerned about the fact that this glass in this area is getting too cold, and because you're focused on something else, it's going to crack on you. So, it's, my goal is to help you guys, help yourselves become successful by creating good habits that you can follow through with and make a daily thing. And again, it's going to take you 90 days. Every budget that anybody has ever done generally takes about 90 days because as you go through the process, you need to go through and you got to change some things because something will come up that you weren't expecting and you got to cross it off and add something else to it. Again, like I was saying with scheduling your activities. It could be raining on a day that you want to go play Frisbee golf or on a day you want to go bike riding or hiking. And say on a Thursday, that's the day you go to the movies. Well, make the day that's raining your movie day and make the day that it's not raining your day you go hiking or playing in the water. Whatever. So take all this to heart. Make a list. I'm going to put this on the website and or on the show notes, and it'll be on the website at some point in time as well. And all these links will be on there as well as a link to Dropbox. And before I let you guys go, also, I wanted to remind you that this is going to be our first week where I'm doing our Wise Guy Radio trivia question. And I'm excited to do this because I love giving things away. And I am going to be giving somebody, whoever gets this answer right, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of you that'll get this answer right, and I will be then doing a random choosing of the winners that got the answer right for one grand winner out of all of you. And the reference is going to go back to our episode with Mongo Glass, not Mongo Glass, but with Mongo we had. And we were talking about some areas of his life. And if you guys, basically what I'm asking is where or what city was it that he referred to the time that he had to drive a friend home from a concert. It was either before or after the concert. And they had to pull up onto the sidewalk, not only because that was how they parked their car there, but also because they were a little drunk and shouldn't have been driving. So, again, the question is, what city was Mongo in when he decided to drive his vehicle up on the sidewalk to park it, and then was then asked by the cops what the hell they were doing? And you can give your answer to me at info@wiseguyradio.com. And again, out of all the people that get this answer right, I will choose one random winner out of it. And the random winner will get a sticker pack, a pendant, and a PDF book download that I will be sending, which is the beginning of a new series I'm putting together on introductory into glass blowing and lamp working concepts in business. So the winner will get a sticker pack, a pendant, and a preview reading, basically, of this new book that I'm putting together for you guys. So once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. All these notes and links to the show will be on the show notes, and then they will also be in the newsletter. Coming up this Tuesday, I'm meeting with my web guy. Finally, he's gotten back to me, and him and I are going to work some things out and hopefully get back on track with this website and the show with all the show notes on there. Otherwise, I will then be getting back into controlling the site and getting all these things going for you guys. So you can go to wiseguyradio.com. You can go there also and subscribe to our newsletter and our weekly updates. I'm actually going to be putting out last week's up today, which is Wednesday. And again, I postponed it because I was trying to figure out how to attach PDFs to it, and I couldn't figure it out. So what I'm just going to do instead is there will be a link in the show notes and also in both last week and this week's newsletter that will send you directly to a public folder in my Dropbox where you guys can download any and all PDFs that I have created, everything from inventory slips to keeping track of your profit and losses to the little slip waiver form that you should be including in every package that you send out in the mail. So go check that out. And good luck to whoever answers this question correctly. to my quiz for this week, and y'all have a great week. Happy melting, and we will see you on episode number 68. I love you guys so much, and once again, thank you again for tuning. If you guys like this show and what I'm doing for you, you can go to iTunes and subscribe to the show. And also, please share it with your friends and family, whether it's through your social media, forwarding the emails that I give you guys through the subscriptions, and just talking about this with your friends. Love you guys. Take care. We'll talk to you. Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show. If you have any questions, comments, or remarks, please leave them in the show notes page area where it says comments. We'll see you soon. Have a wise night.
You're listening to the Wise Guy Radio Show.